signals for crossing street intersections with Carrie. She uses a felt pad, sticky strips, and toy cars.
On this side, this is about where, this is the curb, and this is where the sidewalk would be. So trace your hand over on the right of, no, the right side, there you go, and all the way up until you come to the curb. Where I put the wiki stick down, feel that. Okay. That is the place that you'll be crossing over the actual street, the intersecting street.
Yeah. Okay, if you're gonna go, we'll go nice, quick pace, big steps, listening to the idling car on your right side, and feeling that slope go down. It's a wider crossing, you're doing fine. Did you feel like it was getting too wide?
No.
Okay, good. That was great.
Reading Square is in the process of construction. This artist's rendition shows the improvements. Carrie will be able to feel the crosswalks with her cane, which will prevent her from veering. Washington Street already has an audible pedestrian signal, but it is very short. After 6 chirps, Carrie has no auditory signal to finish guiding her across.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's go. Because you know it only was about 6. Now turn left, because you just turned yourself. Nice big steps. Big, big, big. Yep. Okay, now you're going to be really paying attention to the crown of the street. You feel it starting to head down?
Yeah.
Go with it. Keep that cane going. Nice, big, smooth steps. Almost there. It's a wide one. A little bit for the left. Okay.
I wish it went a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's not a real long cycle. This is where I would want your feet to be positioned when you are ready to start that crossing. And here's the limitation, is that if you were to try and search for the button.
Raisins and kind of press them down.
It's probably easier.
I think it's easier, and I think you get a better,
So how many layers
when I
will
say-
this go up? As many as you want?
as many as you want, because, see, I like to do that, because then I get the quantity that I want. When you're putting them in, sometimes they don't
Right.
stick. So now what we're gonna do is take our next one, and again, dipping it. So as you're putting it
I'm
in,
interested.
I'm going in over where they're connecting,
Okay, where they meet.
where they meet.
Okay.
We don't need that.
And does that mean the next layer is double?
Double in what?
Do you do 2?
You
You've done
could,
2,
you
now
could
you're
if
doing
you could
1?
if you want, Camille. I mean, see how quick this pops?
Yeah. Reminds me of crescent rolls.
There you go.
Good old crescent rolls.
So it is quick. It's a quick dessert if you want to do it a dessert. You don't have to do all of the varieties. You could just use your butter.
I had this at a meeting in Reading. You know when we used to go
Oh,
to nightly meetings. I don't know. I thought it was Pat Keen, but
we don't do that anymore, Camille?
Well, not the same type. It's,
No, that's when we used to,
interesting.
we were in Young Women, and we were involved in a lot of fundraising and
Newcomers. and-
newcomers. I mean, you could add more raisins if you wanted to this, but let me just give you a quick peek. I'm going to give you, if you can get a close-up shot of that. And then we're just going to continue now. So I'm just going to use 3. If you wanted it to become higher,
All right, so now
More-
you're.
Do you have a question or comment for the Board of Selectmen?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
I was wondering, are you guys due to readdress the snow shoveling of sidewalks coming up soon?
What do you mean by readjust?
Readdress.
Yeah, because I thought you were going to address it in April or something, so I just was hoping to make a point on that.
Go ahead.
Me and my mother, we live on a corner street.
Uh-huh.
And the way our sidewalk is on the side, it ends. It doesn't rejoin the front on Pearl Street. And so I don't know what the point would be of shoveling the sidewalk there for anybody. And we also have neighbors that like to plow it, to park their cars on the sidewalk and just plow in over there. So I would just like you guys, to think about other situations on that.
Okay, well, I'll ask the board to talk about it, but thanks for your comment.
Yeah, I have one other question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, on the Exxon gas station down on Walker's Brook across from General Ave, is there any update on what's going on down there?
That's in site plan approval right now for a Salem 5 bank.
Oh, good, because that'd be nice to see something go in down there. It's been about, 5 years or something?
I think probably at least, yeah. It will be good to see it occupied.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks. So, shoveling sidewalks.
Well, in fact, I had mentioned it at the last two meetings that we need to get a group together to look at where we are plowing and plowing the sidewalks and seeing how effective we are. And to the point of the caller, Walkable Reading has certainly been concerned about the availability of sidewalks during the winter for walking. So it's something that we need to address.
Government is ourselves and not an alien power over us. The ultimate rulers of our democracy are not a president and senators and congressmen and government officials, but the voters of this country. More than an end to war, we want an end to the beginning of all wars. Yes, an end to this brutal, inhumane, and thoroughly impractical method of settling the differences between governments. We have always held to the hope, the belief, the conviction that there is a better life, a better world beyond the horizon. The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much, it is whether we provide enough for those who have little. We must remember that any oppression, any injustice, any hatred is a wedge. A nation, like a person, has a mind that must be kept informed and alert, that must know itself, that understands the hopes and needs of its neighbors, all the other nations that live within the narrowing circle of the world. If civilization is to survive, we must cultivate the science of human relationships. The ability of all peoples, of all kinds, to live together in the same world at peace. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. Let us stand and join in our closing hymn, number 159, This Is My Song, number 159.
Kinds of problems, fungus and all of that. So what I do is I cut the foliage down when it starts to change color and it starts to die down on its own. So I've cut this down, and ideally you should cut it on an angle when you cut leaves, because then the water runs off and doesn't run down into the crown of the plant.
That makes sense.
Cause any rotting of the plant.
Okay.
So the daylilies, the stelladoros have been put to bed. It's interesting, these are the grape hyacinths, the Ameriacum, the muscari.
Yes.
They're an interesting bulb in that they send up their foliage in the fall. This is their foliage, and the flower will come up from the middle here.
Now you've done nothing with those. They have done this on their own.
Yes, they have. They're starting to get ready for their scene. And they are putting up their foliage, and they'll stay green right through the winter. And don't forget, that foliage is the food for the bulb itself, so we don't ever cut that foliage. The foliage that was from last year died down naturally. I did not cut that off.
But is this the first year for these?
No, we put them in last year.
Okay, and everything seemed to go in the same cycle, so you're happy with what you have there.
I really am. It looks like they've actually multiplied, which is what I wanted. That's why I chose this particular variety. It's a very dark purple, blue purple. And it's pretty with the, we have daffodils all in through here, and it's very pretty with those. And it'll be a ribbon right around this garden. But they have multiplied. I think they're doing great. We did feed them. We fed them in the fall. We feed them when they first poke their noses through, and we feed them when they finish. So bulbs are fed 3 times.
But they look just like blades of grass, and I can't imagine that they'd stay green all winter.
They will.
You would think they would die down too.
They manage. They seem to just take a rest, and they'll be fine. Hopefully they'll be covered with snow, and that helps. But they'll do fine.
We have 2 presenters here today. Ken Rossetti from the law firm of Barton & Rossetti. Ken is obviously a business owner here in town. He is a former member of the Chamber Board of Directors and is the Chamber's representative to the ad hoc committee that was created to study this whole real estate tax split issue. And we have Leslie McGonigal, who is also a business owner here in town. She's a founding member of the Chamber and has been appointed by the Chamber to be the representative to the Economic Development Committee, and then from there, she was that committee's representative to this tax ad hoc committee. So they'll be presenting to us. They'll have their own format on how they like to present, whether you have questions and answers during it or afterwards. That's entirely up to them. And I will let them get on with this. And in case, did I introduce myself? I don't think I did, actually.
May I introduce Michael Giacalone, President of the Chamber of Commerce.
So without further ado, I will leave the floor and present it to Ken and Leslie.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming in this morning. As Michael said, my name is Ken Rossetti. I am the Chamber Board's designee to the Ad Hoc Tax Classification Committee. The Ad Hoc Tax Classification Committee is a committee that was formed by the Reading Board of Selectmen to study the issue of tax classification. Tax classification means to split the property tax rate, and I'll get into what that means in a moment. But before I get into my presentation, I want to recognize a couple of special guests who have taken time out of their busy schedules to come and hear our presentation. First, I'd like to recognize Representative Brad Jones, who was kind enough to come in this morning. House Minority Leader and Representative
Connor David of 41-0. These are
so one of these boys is going to go home undefeated, and the other one's going to suffer his first loss. That's just amazing.
Yes, and they are juniors, so they'll be around next year. Michelle Guzman has his ponytail wrapped up in the do-rag.
Well, yep. The some of the schools are it's common to have longer hair, and so you see the hair must be controlled by that hairnet.
Yep.
And what's going on now is called hand fighting. It's a bit of a preamble, and
he's got a pup now. Out of bounds. No control established by Guzman. He was in there on the shot, but no control established.
You know, this control thing is probably the most difficult for most newbie wrestling fans is to figure out what's going on. It looks like 2 guys are...
He has control now, even though he's not all the way back. He's inside the arms, and he's in a position to advance in his quest to turn his opponent to his back. So 2-0 for Miguel Guzman from Greater Lawrence. 1-point escape for Connor David of King Philip down the South Shore, King Philip Regional. Guzman with a quick spin behind for another takedown. 4-1 for Guzman here in the first period with 45 seconds left. Guzman is very quick.
He is. He's. I've been following the sport for several years, and some of these smaller build wrestlers are just tremendously agile. He's one of them.
It is, as we
so
talked
there you go.
earlier.
There's that Turk move again. He's trying to grab the cross wrist and then throw the leg to try to establish control of the hips. King Philip pulled himself out of that one.
We've seen 4 wrestlers here who have the chance to be state champion who do not weigh more than 112 pounds and probably wouldn't compete in any other sport. That's the great thing about it.
Tonight, we honor Chuck Shenner as the 2007 recipient of the Cliff Allen Award.
To me, I'm very humble about this. I try to control my emotions because of Cliff. You know. It's, I mean, when I built the press box, I used to walk by with the dog. You know, it brings back so many memories. To me, it's great to have an award like this for Cliff. But myself personally, it's great. I just don't know what to say about it. You know, as far as that I'm concerned. You know. It's a nice award, and you get people like, you know, like Frank Smith and, you know, and Newt, and, you know, they're just great people. To be put in that position with them is, you know, I'm just the guy who works, guy who gets things done, you know. But to me, it's just cool, and I'm very, very emotional about it. I really am. See if I can remember it all. I really got to read this. I look around and see so many people. It's beautiful. I feel like I need a 50-50 drawing. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame officers, President Don Pierce, Vice President Mike Mascarello, Treasurer Sally Mascarello, Secretary Frian Doherty, and their committee for this special honor. I stand here before you very humble by this recognition, believe me. To be honored with this award.
Well, I would say to Larry McMurtry that consideration takes many forms. Bringing back books isn't just giving up, but also sharing with. Nor is possession of an object, in this case a kind of box that contains words, the same thing as possession of what's inside the box. Ownership of a book is such an insignificant thing compared to the experience of reading it, whereby, in an experience I'm sure everybody in this room has also had, a book can come to own you too, its reader. Interestingly enough, McMurtry went on to become a bookstore owner, a purveyor of books as well as a producer of them. I wonder if he ever did get a library card. In my own library life, library cards have never been lacking, and in fact, today I have 4 of them. There is, of course, my rather battered Reading Public Library card. Let's hear it for the card. I once had the great pleasure of hearing Dexter Gordon play tenor saxophone. I don't know if any of you are jazz fans. Reading is not a big jazz place. But Dexter Gordon is this magnificent tenor saxophonist, and whenever you would applaud him, he would hold up his saxophone horizontally so that you were applauding the instrument, not him. So you're not applauding me, you're applauding the card. And also let it be said, since I'm no longer a Reading resident, I probably have this illegally. But when I was asked to give this talk, it was made plain that there wouldn't be a fee, and that's fine, of course. So let's consider this my fee, the fact that it won't be confiscated. I currently live in Cambridge, so I have an almost as battered Cambridge Public Library card. I teach at Brandeis University, and so my Brandeis ID functions as a library card, and it means, since I'm faculty, that I can take out books for a whole year, as many as I want, which is...
This is a question which someone actually asked me, and I think we've got several questions about this, including the letter. It says, why does RCTV cover JV and Pop Warner football, but doesn't cover the varsity football team?
It's an excellent question.
Thank you.
It's because we don't like the varsity football team.
Okay, well that would be a good reason.
No,
Next question.
It's not true. That's not true. The people who produce Pop Warner football and JV football coverage.
Wait a minute, the people who produce, explain that to me.
Well, RCTV only produces government meeting coverage.
Oh, really?
That's the only thing we produce. Well, I mean, I guess we're producing this show
show.
because it's about RCTV. But we are required...
Until recently, we only produced government.
Yeah. Until recently, we only produced government
and now
meeting
we
coverage.
do this show in government meeting coverage.
Yes. And, you know, It's up to our membership to make the programming.
Okay.
All of those series shows that we mentioned before,
Mm-hmm.
all the new shows, all the returning regulars, all the church services are done by volunteers. They're members of RCTV who took a class, learned how to use the equipment, send it out, and produce great programming.
Sure.
It's not done by me. There's two and a half people working here at the studio. We have a part-time person working at the high school teaching the TV production class. We are here to facilitate and train people how to use the equipment.
Okay.
So it's up to the people to make the TV shows.
So if people want varsity football on TV, they have to come down, learn how to use the equipment, and they can go ahead and produce that. And that's
Exactly.
what's happened with JV and Pop Warner.
Yes, there's
and that's not just football either. If they're into
Right.
basketball.
Hey, nice. So we want to come right to the edge here, right? Yes. That's the edge. Yep, that's the edge.
They carefully cut the other section. As much work was done today because next Saturday was the official dedication of the houses. June 23rd was a very windy day for the dedication. It was so windy that the Habitat tent almost blew over. Exit Realty, the sponsor of the other house, anchored their tent down. There were a lot of speeches and thanks to go around. Each family gave a speech basically thanking all the workers and people that helped build their houses. Kaz spoke for the Majorge family,
Hello everybody.
and Tanya spoke for the Dion family.
This experience has been absolutely amazing.
Both families received many gifts, like toolboxes, toys to play in the yard, and how about a gas grill? Afterwards, people got to tour the houses. The families didn't move in for a few months, but this concludes my involvement with the project. It was quite a journey that took over a year. I followed the progress from cutting down trees to having 2 houses built. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Connection calendar. Up first we have Tom Sutherland, President of the Reading Art Association.
Well, the Reading Art Association was started in 1958 by a group of local artists who wanted to foster the arts in the Reading area. And so we've been around for quite a few years, and we have a lot of artists who have been members for almost from the beginning. And we're trying to get new members in, younger people and people that are getting out of art school that want to join a nice organization so they can foster their art and be able to exhibit locally. And we have a lot of fun. We have demonstrations almost every month. We have 2 art shows and sales during the year, one in the fall, one in the spring. We are a nonprofit organization. All of the money that we have coming in is from either dues or the exhibitions there's a small fee to exhibit our work, which is very nominal. We don't take any commissions on the sale of work. All of that goes right to the artist. If he or she would like to donate a portion of their sales, we welcome that. We meet September through June at the First Congregational Church in Reading on the corner of Woburn and Sanborn Street. And they're held every second Wednesday of the month. We have a board meeting at 6:30 to 7:30, and then at 7:30 to 9 or 9:30 we have a demonstration.
To find worthwhile experience in the pursuit of knowledge. They are the folks you have to thank for your diplomas. Lastly, before saying our goodbyes to Reading Memorial High School, we should consider just how privileged we are to have been allowed to let our minds wander in exploration over the past 13 years. We could take this education for granted. Instead, consider what a great gift it is. Possessions may be destroyed, money may be lost or spent, but one's education grants power that can never be taken away. Each of us has earned a high school education through our own hard work and the privilege of living in this great country. Class of 2008, now is the time to decide exactly what we will do with the great opportunity that is the rest of our lives. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Chris Gennard to present the Valedictory Address.
Thank you, Jeff. 4 years ago, a class of over 300 timid freshmen entered what were the old buildings of Reading Memorial High School. In our first few days of school, we were crowded into the old auditorium, and this occasion promised to be the first of many times that our student body would congregate in one location. Over 4 years, we moved from the separate, isolated seats of the old auditorium to the stuffed student section of the TD Bank North Garden for the finals.
There is one consolation, however. Even as we lose this generous gift from our good friends in France, it may be replaced with another present from another far-off nation. It has been rumored that the MWRA, in honor of its move into Reading, has come to the rescue. If indeed we lose the dummy, that organization has made arrangements with an undisclosed third world country to make a magnanimous gift to Reading, a new symbol for a new century, to be placed very near the entrance to town at the Stoneham line. If the stories are correct, we will receive not just one, but a pair of sculptures placed side by side in the shape of mushroom clouds, standing guard over our little hamlet. As the song says, you are a revelation, an old friend to be saved, Reading traffic dummy, relic of golden days.
Approaching from Lowell Street, I'm easily confused. The bright lights and the traffic are calling me to you. Reaching Old Yellow Island, should I stop or should I go? The light tells me it's okay, but I never really know. Old Yellow, here's to Old Yellow.